it going out there? Going at you with a story today. Oh, another story. Yeah. Still enjoying my little Stanwell billiard here with some Peter Stokeby luxury Navy flake in there. Try to rotate around here, try to block some of this wind noise, but I can't get the camera, my phone, too much closer to me, or to be staring straight at my nose instead of just partly at my nose. And I want to say thanks to Danny Shore for the Peter Stokeby Navy flake. Let's see, yeah, this is the Navy flake. He didn't give it to me, but he's the one who recommended it, and I do enjoy it. It and the bullseye and the twist and all of that. So anyway, I just loaded up another bowl, just getting it going here. And so a while back I was doing, every now and then I'd tell a childhood story, and I'd gone through most of them, but if you watch my video, my update video, where I was talking about, where I was talking to this recruiter about this new job, and he was asking about, you know, hydraulic experience, if I had any hydraulic experience, you know, like on the farm or anything, and I told him, you know, I wouldn't call it hydraulic experience, you know, changing out a hose or, you know, pulling a knob or a lever to make hydraulics work. But that reminded me of a story, and I've titled this, well, I haven't titled it yet, but I think I'm going to title this something like Rattlesnakes and Prince Albert in a Can. Boy, that wind is going crazy. I'm trying to, sorry guys, I'm trying to block the wind. Hopefully you can hear me. If not, I'll scrap this and start over. I may go inside and do it. And try to keep my pipe going at the same time here. And so, anyway, of course, we had hydraulics on the tractor. We'd be pulling whatever, a disc or something. You'd have a, you know, it seems like on those we had like 3 different levers. One of them would set the depth of the implement that we wanted to go in the ground. One of them would, I don't remember now. It's been so long. Like I told this guy, that's been forever ago. We could pull the whole thing up out of the ground. Another one would, you know, flip the, see if I can get that to stand up, you know, flip the ends up so we could lift it up if we were going to haul it down the road, you know, a mile to another field or something like that. And every now and then we'd have a, you know, a hydraulic hose would break or something like that. You know, they'd get old and worn out, and we'd replace the hose. And if you ever worked with a hydraulics where a hose breaks, it happens as soon as you try to use the hydraulic. You grab the lever and it blows, and then you got hydraulic fluid everywhere. Spray up on the cab, all over the implement, whatever you were using. And then of course, when you get that hydraulic fluid smeared all over a piece of metal that you're getting ready to walk on, it is slicker than snot on a doorknob, I am telling you. And where we farmed out there in the Panhandle, it was very sandy and very windy. West Texas, West Oklahoma, sandy and windy, because there's nothing, no hills, no trees, no nothing to block the wind. And so we'd get back there with a couple of wrenches, and invariably you're going to slip and fall and bust a knee, or try to catch yourself and bust a knuckle or something. We'd take the hose off, and you're covered in hydraulic fluid, and then here comes the wind, blows the sand, and now you're got sand stuck all over you. It was a mess. It wasn't fun. I always thought we needed one of those, you know, like those white chemical suits they go into a building or to check asbestos or something before we ever begin to work on hydraulics. We put a new hose on and go on with it. But anyway, that's what reminded me of this story. I had this somewhere I found, I'm pretty sure it was a Prince Albert in a can. The little tin can, probably 3 or 4 inches wide, maybe 4 or 5 inches tall, inch thick, maybe something like that. And if I remember right, it had like a little hinged lid. You open it, and I remember I could smell, it was empty, but I could still smell the Prince Albert, and I always thought it smelled so good. I have no idea where I got it. And I'm thinking, if I remember right, I want to say it was red. Does anybody remember that? Anybody remember Prince Albert that was actually in that little tin can, and it was red. I need to go online and look up pictures, see if I'm remembering this correctly or not. So anyway, I found that can, or had it. I don't remember where it came from. I have no idea where it is today. I'm betting my mother probably threw it out. But when we go out on the farm, and again, we were farming as kids, probably by the time we were 14, 15 at the latest, we would get our instructions for whatever the day or the week you're going to go out to this whatever section of land. Section is a mile by mile square, and you're going to plow it, or you're going to plant it, or you're going to whatever we were doing to it. Work the ground, get the weeds, sweep it, whatever. And so, and my pipe went out. I did so good once on my last story. And we were always finding rattlesnakes out there. And so, of course, we got to come up with creative ways to kill a rattlesnake in their existence. Because we hated rattlesnakes. I still do. If it's a little bull snake or garden or garter or green or whatever, I don't care about those guys, but I despise rattlesnakes. And so we always carried a toolbox on the tractor. We had them bolted onto the side of the tractor. Carry your basic, your like a ball peen hammer and pliers and a basic set of wrenches and a big adjustable like a crescent and channel locks and basic stuff, like baling wire. They used to bale, hay bales. They would be wrapped with a couple strands of wire, versus now they're using twine or netting or something different now. But so we'd always carry baling wire, because you could wire a muffler up on your car when it fell off on the pickup. You could do all kinds of stuff, and just enough tools to hopefully, if you had a problem, a mile out, you could get back to the pickup where you had more tools, or you could go get a part or something like that. And so, I would experiment trying to, kill them with the ball peen hammer. Of course, if it was a little snake, you could just go up and whack them. If it was a, full grown mama or daddy snake, you didn't want to get that close. You got as close as you dared, and then you'd throw that hammer at him and try to hit him in the head. Of course, if you missed, now you had to do something else, because your hammer is laying in the dirt right by the head of a pissed off rattlesnake. And so you don't go retrieve it immediately. And so we would always carry typically a log chain. That way, if you needed to, got into something pretty sticky, you might be able to unhook your implement, get the tractor on better ground, get the chain onto it, and pull it to better ground and hook up and keep going, or whatever. We use chains, pulling trees, stumps, and everything. And so then we take that chain, get it, feet out 5 or 6 feet, and swing it and whack, and then, kill the snake that way. And then every snake I would kill, or a rattlesnake, I would cut the rattles off their tail, and I'd put them in that Prince Albert can. And, after one summer, you'd have that whole little tin can was just full of these, all sizes, little rattles, big rattles. And I remember there was this one time, and every morning we'd go out. We have a like a glass, or a fuel filter, and it'd have a glass jar on it with a pitcock on the bottom. We'd drain, all the water would settle at the bottom. We'd drain that until we started seeing a little bit of diesel come out, and then we'd close that. We'd start the tractor up, and we'd let it run for 10, 15, 20 minutes, let it warm up. I'm not doing so good on this bowl. I must not have packed it the right way. I must not have followed Eric's instructions exactly right. And so while we were letting it warm up, then we would go get the grease gun and grease all the bearings and joints and everything that had a grease dirt on it. We'd check, bolts, make sure everything was tight. We knew certain bolts were going to work loose, so we'd go over the, typically it's the implement. The tractor, we didn't have to tighten a whole lot. There's a few things we would check, and tire pressure. Anyway, as I'm walking around the tractor getting ready to do all this, I see this fairly good sized snake, rattlesnake, sometime in the night, and curled up where like the big tire on the back sits at the dirt. He had crawled right in there, probably to keep warm, and curled up in a little ball as I'm walking around, you know, it's like, you know, your heart skips 2 or 3 beats, and when you see that guy sitting there, and it was still fairly cool in the morning, so he wasn't moving too fast. I'd kick the tire, you know, I got my hammer out ready, bang the tire, hit the rim, you know, he would not come out. So I know how to fix this guy. I know how to get him out of there. Of course, I'm not going to run over him. One, it's probably not going to do anything. It's just going to press him down into the dirt, and you're going to, you know, if you can get the, depends on what you're pulling. If you get a disc run over him, yeah, you'll chop him into, you know, 20 or 30 pieces, but. And so I went and got a piece of baling wire about, I don't know, 6-7 feet long, and I folded it in half, so that would be double thickness. And then on the end, I just put a little crook in it. And then on those tractors, the exhaust, smokestack, exhaust pipe, whatever you want to call it, was running straight up the front. So I just hung the that crook right in the exhaust pipe, just like that, while the tractor was warming up. I went and did my thing. Went to grab that baling wire, and sure enough, it was hot. So I got my glove on, got my hammer in my right hand, got my hot wire in the second hand, stuck it under there. That snake come out, whack, right on the head. Got me another nice sized rattle there. So anyway, I don't know whether that's interesting to anybody or not, but that's just one of those childhood stories that I remember. Of course, eventually, you know, I started taking the gun out there, a little 22, and then we'd shoot him. I wouldn't want to shoot him right up there against a tire, but. And I have no idea what happened to that little tin can. I can imagine my mom probably finding it, shaking it, opening it, and looking in there, and, you know, freaking out and tossing it. I have no clue where that went. That would be cool, but, and again, seems to me like it was a Prince Albert can. And I want to say it was red, but it's probably been 30 years ago or more. So anyway, another little story. Hey guys, thanks for watching, thanks for checking in. Go get you some snakes out there, and we'll catch you later.